Hello, hello, hello.
Hi there.
Welcome into Thursday morning. It's the 9th, right? I keep losing track of the date.
It's the 9th. Happy birthday, Michael Mayer.
Is it? Well,
yes.
His birthday? Well, all right then. Happy birthday, and happy birthday to you if such is the case. And welcome into the Exiles TV show. He's Bill Profita, and I'm Kevin Gallagher.
I am?
Yeah, you
I
are.
love that guy.
All day long.
All day long. Hope you all are staying safe and well. We're going to find out today where we stand. Mike Steele, Communications Director for GOHSEP, will be with us. We've been talking and working very hard in Louisiana to flatten this curve, and we may be nearing that point, which would be good news for everybody. But he's going to talk about the resources around the state and how we are doing. Dr. Bo Clark, East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner, will be joining us as well. And my goodness, I mean, he had that triple homicide, suicide, homicide yesterday up in Zachary.
That was horrible.
Horrible. But we're going to talk a little bit. He has been doing daily briefings on coronavirus deaths in our parish. And he's going to try to explain the difference between dying with coronavirus and dying from coronavirus.
I think this is really particularly important to discuss because 2 days ago, Dr. Birx, at one of the president's coronavirus updates, basically admitted to America that they're kind of cooking the books on deaths. She said we're counting everybody who dies with coronavirus as a coronavirus death. Now, what she basically said is maybe you tested positive for coronavirus, but you could have had a brain aneurysm or a heart attack.
Well, and
but that's counting as a coronavirus death. So should we count, with coronavirus or from coronavirus?
Well, and then you get to the gray area, the complications of diabetes while you have coronavirus. In other words, if you had not had the coronavirus, either way, without the diabetes, would you be in the hospital and would you be deceased? And a lot of this really doesn't amount to a hill of beans in the grand scheme of things.
No, but it makes me question the numbers we're getting.
Well,
and it makes America question the numbers we're getting.
The thing is, it's complicated. And for example, 652 deaths reported in Louisiana now, of 17,000 and change in cases. And this is with over 81,000 tests completed and reported to the state. So we are getting that big backlog in.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. And if I have congestive heart failure, and I'm clicking along, and I have to sit on my couch every now and then and rest, and I take my medicine or I don't take my medicine, which is a big part of the problem with things like that. And suddenly I've got a fever and I've got a cough, and they test me, and I've got coronavirus, and it's starting to go downhill quickly, and I end up in a hospital, and I end up on a respirator, and I pass away. I have died from complications of the coronavirus, meaning my congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
Now, when you're trying to track how everybody is impacted by a disease, that counts. Now, if you get hit by a car on Plank Road,
I don't think they're going to count that.
Well, they shouldn't. Now, in some jurisdictions, they may. It's kind of like the old thing during the Vietnam War when we had more people in uniform, over a longer period of time up until this point than we've ever had. And they had the Vietnam Service Medal. And if you were a cook at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and never left there, you still got that ribbon, just like the guy who was walking around with an M16 and a rice paddy, in Vietnam.
Because you served during the Vietnam War.
Well, that's it. So this death occurred during the COVID pandemic. So we're going to ask Dr. Clark to sort it out, and also if it makes any particular impact in terms of economics or healthcare or anything like that. Because, a lot of people like to grab stats out of the air, usually things that they've never grabbed before or really don't know much about statistical analysis. And they try to turn something from it that is not evident and really is not relevant. And largely what happens is people get all angry because somebody tells them they're supposed to be angry about this.
Right.
And it doesn't mean spit in the grand scheme of things. When we talk to Dr. Clark, I'm going to ask a question I've asked other people. Have you ever read a cause of death on a death certificate? Do you know how to read it and what it means? No. Well, let's start from there, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
We'll start from there, and perhaps lower your blood pressure by making you not so angry over something you know nothing about.
My blood pressure is fine right now.
Your blood pressure.
But I always like talking to Dr. Clark. It's always very enlightening. So we'll look forward to that. That's coming up later in the program. Real quick, I'm looking at it on national news. Across the USA, 432,000 confirmed infected, under 15,000 dead across the USA. Under 15,000. They're now saying expected total maybe around 60K deaths in the United States. You know what that number resembles? Annual deaths from flu.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that more. Stay by. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Exiles TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher, and I'm going to assume you know who you are. Thanks for joining us this morning. We've got a lot going on in the state of Louisiana. By the way, if you are watching us in the Baton Rouge area, for example, you're probably watching us either open air on VHF Channel 11 or digital channel 14.2. Or if you're on Cox or Uverse, you probably got friends in other areas of the state that can get us on their Cox system as well.
Cox Lafayette, Cox Slidell, Cox in New Orleans.
Yeah, and all the suburbs too around. So tell them, look under Pelican Broadcasting on the web, and you can actually see all the different cable systems that we're on. About 1 million of you have the opportunity to hear us and see us, so make sure you're doing your part.
Yesterday when I was arriving home, my next door neighbors were working in their front garden, and they were like, so how do we go about seeing your show? We want to see your show. I'm like, hey. They're, however, satellite TV. So I had to direct them to the web, which was no big deal for them. They've got a smart TV where they can look at the web right on the big 52-inch screen.
That works.
And gave her the address, and she made a bookmark and said that she'll be so. Debbie, Mark, glad to have you watching.
Yes, indeed. So
I have good neighbors.
Yeah, they were. The news media. I feel so bad for the people that have to do a very, very long television show, and it's trying to be a news show. And they have just run out of things because, quite frankly, I'm not trying to be ugly here, but after we talk about the numbers, there's not much new.
Update on the resources, update on the testing, latest numbers.
I mean, as far as a news story, packaging a news story, and our buddy Ted James is out of the hospital.
Yep.
And we're glad
Thank
to
God.
hear that. And they did a nice little story with him last night. But then they start getting into, here is little Julie, and Julie is 4, and she's got a song to tell us how to stay busy during home, stay at home.
I don't want anybody to sing to me right now.
I'm
No
sorry.
celebrities, nobody. I want anybody to sing to me right now.
And of course, and this was sent by Megan so-and-so, Julie's mom. It's like, okay.
Look at my kid. Bill and I were talking about this on our podcast yesterday. These newscasts have, just like this program, we're on for 2 hours and we've got to fill it. Now, in their case, it's a half-hour newscast. They've got to fill something like 22 and a half minutes, but sometimes even that can be difficult. And there was a piece with I love Lauren Westbrook, but she did a feature piece about someone who's putting up crosses for everyone who has died.
Saw those, by the way. They're on Highland Road at St. John's United Methodist Church.
Which is a sweet sentiment, but Bill and I both saw the same piece, and we were, each one of these crosses represents someone who's died: a mother, a sister, a brother,
A bad
dad.
driver.
It's like,
An anorexic.
a cousin who comes over all the time that you don't really like all
That uncle who's really not your uncle.
It became obvious. My imagination told me that somebody went back and said, Lauren, I needed about another 9 seconds of audio from you for this piece.
Yeah.
So she went from each cross represents someone who has died to a mother, a father. Lauren, I'm not making fun, honey. I'm saying
No,
this,
we feel your
understand,
pain.
We understand how it is.
We feel your pain.
And we love our friends over at Channel 9 and the rest of the news media, but sometimes they're up against things because they have to. I mentioned the sports guy on Channel 33. It's like,
Brian Holland.
yeah, that poor guy. Why are they even making him show up? There's no sports. They made him show up for work, go up on the stage, and introduce a video piece with Beth Terramine and the softball team, the LSU softball team. It was a good video piece, but that's it. Here's video piece. I guess I'll just shuffle off, put his head down and walk away.
He's enthusiastic.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Now, what I'm starting to get tired of, and I know that some people think when I say this I'm Mr. Cranky Pants. I don't want your employees singing to me. Bill Withers was not even cold yet, and you got a bunch of Walmart employees singing "Lean on Me"
Badly.
for 60 seconds. And I'm sorry, I don't need to see that.
So unnecessary.
And not only that, I think it's kind of insulting. Those 12 employees that they put in the spot are not representative of the 150,000 that are working in stores right now, putting things back on the shelves and trying to keep their distance from you so that you can get what you need. I much more appreciate the commercials of, we're working very hard and we're trying to keep up with things. We're open for you, be safe and come see us. But and again, all those employees, they couldn't find any that could actually carry a tune.
Most of us can't, Bill.
Well, that's a good reason not
So
to do
here's
it.
60 seconds of Lean on Me in 7 different keys. And thank you.
Well, and again, and some of them, the younger people trying to do runs too.
Yeah,
Me became 8 notes,
right.
and
We're Walmart.
7 of them were out of key.
Keeping the Chinese economy alive since 1993.
But oh my goodness, it just, what are you seeing on TV? Are you seeing things that just, you're going, huh, really? Are you going, oh, no, you didn't?
I'm taking great escape in the amount of Science Channel I've been watching lately. I've been watching gobs and gobs of Science Channel just so I don't have to watch all this, wringing of hands over this virus.
I have been trying to watch as much local newscasting because I know what kind of a box they're in, and I'm trying to see how well they do with it.
Speaking of a box, we're in a corner and it's commercial time. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hey, welcome back. This is Exiles TV. I'm Kevin, and he's Bill. And in just a few minutes, we're going to bring up our first guest for this hour. It is East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner Bo Clark. We're going to talk about COVID-19, latest stats, how it's going through our community, and also going to talk about the difference between dying of it and dying with it. So I hope you'll stick around for that. That's coming up about 10 minutes from now.
So we will get the scientific information, have a little discussion with Dr. Clark. You and I were talking about news media in time of crisis like this, and the constraints they're under in terms of information to actually make stories. Mm-hmm. And would you object, for example, if they were to take that 8 minutes for the sportscast at the bottom of the 5, 6, and 10 mm-hmm. and just do something else rather than rerun old interviews and things of that nature.
Well,
as a viewer, would that bother you?
Well, as a viewer look, guys, I'm sports challenged, and I'm probably on the wrong channel to be talking like this, but, as far as sports are concerned, I don't give a rip about any of it. When the home team wins, I'm a happy guy. I haven't missed sports coverage on television one bit. What I have noticed is, they're running a lot of stuff over and over and over again because it's time for the sports. No, let's dedicate. You got no sports. Let's dedicate that time to something else.
Well,
something more relevant.
Same thing at the top of the show. Now you had a pretty big breaking news story yesterday with this murder suicide up in Zachary.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But there wasn't much information, so that entire package was about 2 minutes of flashing lights, Chief McDavid, and more to come.
Yeah.
Because again, it's under investigation. So you got that 3 minutes. We do have a big weather front coming, by the way. Those of you in the western part of our viewing area may be seeing a little of that right now. We're going to see it later on today in the Baton Rouge area, and then tomorrow in New Orleans for sure. But so you got Jay. We need about 5 or 6 minutes with Jay or
Jay Grimes.
or Pat or Josh or whomever. And then you come back and you do what was said at the COVID press conference today. You're done. And you got these people, diligently trying hard to put something on the air. And so you end up with, kind of puff pieces that some people find, quite frankly, irritating.
But some people find them uplifting. I try to keep in mind that not everybody's a curmudgeon like me, And so when I'm growing impatient with a human interest piece that's related to COVID-19, I try to keep in mind that some people are taking some comfort in this, and if that's right now, if anybody, anything that we can do to make anybody feel a little bit better through this thing.
We had Mike Manning from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank on with us, and they're in desperate shape. Would it hurt a couple days a week to take that 8 or 9 minutes and turn it over to, here's the food bank, here's what they're doing today, here's how you can help, kind of doing
I think that's a wonderful idea.
mini telethon. Same thing for St. Vincent de Paul. Same thing for other nonprofits that impact our daily lives in a great big way. Yeah, no one's talking about what are they doing for the homeless. Nobody's talking about any of this, but I mean.
Well, we've talked with Micah Caldo and the Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
But in other words, instead of seeing an interview, I've seen it now 3 times, of Ed Ogeron right after the Alabama game, good interview. Maybe put that time to some sort of constructive use in the community for those that need some actual help.
No, I don't object to that thought at all. And it's just a thought, guys.
And you are dulling the wits of your news people. I would bet, and they're all good soldiers. They really are. But I would bet most of them will look at you and make sure there are no recording devices around and say, if I have to look in a camera one more time and say, wash your hands, maintain 6 feet of distance, and remember, we'll get through this. We're all in this together. Most of them would really, really like to jump off the building every time. You're burning these good people out.
Yeah, I can imagine that they're tired of saying the new normal, too, because I'm dead set against the new normal. Let's not talk about this is not the new normal. This is unusual and extenuating circumstances, and we just need to get through it and get back to the old normal.
This is a crisis. This is nothing like normal. And it's a bad use of English to say things like new normal, by the way, because there's normal and abnormal.
It's a popular turn of phrase.
Well, but again, it shows a complete lack of education about the English language and proper phraseology. It's kind of like jumbo shrimp.
Hose pipe.
Yeah. There is no new normal. There's either normal.
Hot water heater.
There's either normal or abnormal. And this is certainly an abnormal at the moment.
Extremely. So I don't know. I think that the news media is doing the best that they can. I commend them. But to repeat something from yesterday's podcast, Channel 9, what do y'all got against Liz Coe? She's a sweet, nice.
Poor Liz.
gal, and every morning you make her get up at God knows what hour they get up to do that show, because they start at 4:30,
They
don't
start
they?
at 4:30, yeah.
So Liz is probably rolling out at 2:30 in the morning, and what do they make her do? Go stand on a street corner in front of the BBB, which is not open. Mm-hmm. And it's like, are you telling me they don't have a stock shot of that building that they could put on the big
But that's
the
the
big
whole
screen?
thing. It's live. It's breaking news. We have to put her out there. And what I think they're consultants that really push this kind of thing don't realize that anybody who embraces that is probably a really low IQ model and doesn't have any money to spend with their advertisers anyway. Anybody's got any intelligence says, bring the girl in the studio and have her do the story there.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be standing in the middle of the night out in front of an empty building.
Right. Now, they did this all the time with Liz before the coronavirus, too. And I would think to myself, at 5:30 in the morning, she's standing downtown in front of the BBB. Yipes. I hope that there is somebody there keeping an eye out.
By the way, I wanted to mention this. I don't know if you've seen it happening, but I got a real good taste of it after our show, our podcast yesterday. And if you remember, Mike Manning was sitting in this studio with us, and he was talking about if the food supply runs out so that the food bank has to get into a bidding war with other people for it and pay more, they'll have less to distribute. And if you can't get any at all, you're going to stop distributing, and people are going to get desperate. They're going to start acting out in public. So yesterday, I go to a store to pick up just one item, and it was the Albertsons.
How many did you wind up buying?
And it one. But as I park my car, and I got my sanitizing spray in my pocket and all that, and I'm trying to keep distance, I see this pickup truck roll up, and this guy is hanging out the window, and he's talking to this very nice lady, and she's in gloves and mask, and I see her actually reach into her purse and give him some money. So I am steering around, and he actually puts it into gear to try to roll closer to me. So I cut the corner, and I get, hey! And I just put my hand up and kept walking. Hey, don't you walk away from me!
Oh.
I turned, and I did not put on happy face. And I said, you say one more word, and you're getting an ambulance ride. Do you understand me? That's the word. And I basically charged at him, and he threw it into gear and made the circle. He came back. So I go into the store, and I said, you've got a very aggressive, threatening panhandler cruising your parking lot. Oh, yeah, we've seen him.
Who'll do something about him?
Well, he's just going to come back. That's what I was told.
Not after he spends a few days in jail.
But we're going to start seeing more of this. Have you seen any of this? I mean, we used to talk about the skewies on our radio show.
I can't say that I've seen aggressive panhandling, but I have seen more aggressive behavior. It's funny you should mention Albertsons, because I was going in to pick up a few things. This was about a week ago. And it was one of those, I'm going up the lane and I spied the parking spot that I'm going to take, but yet somebody comes around the corner and cuts me off and takes the parking place. And then gave me that look like, what? What are you going to do? What? Well, I did the only thing I could do. I went and found another parking place, because I am not getting into it in the parking lot of Albertsons over a parking spot.
Well,
I am not going to jail over, somebody aggressively taking, quote unquote, my space.
The thing is, this kind of stuff escalates, and that's what we really need to be aware of. And you know what? If you're staying open because you're a grocery store or a pharmacy and people are coming and going, and I understand that you're under a lot of stress to keep these shelves stocked and keep people apart inside. But look out your front door every now and then and see what's going on in your parking lot. Parking lots, statistically, by the way, in terms of crime, have always been the highest percentage crime location in this country.
Especially mall parking lots.
Any kind of parking lot.
We could do an entire 2 hours on bad behavior in parking lots, both by the consumer and by the criminal.
But you need to be more aggressive than the people that are out hassling your customers, because tempers are short right now. A lot of people are trying very hard to smile and get through this, but inside, they've got a go-ahead punk, make my day mentality.
Here's the thing to do when someone walks up and starts out with excuse me, and they're trying to panhandle you in the parking lot. Hit them up for money first. I had a guy come up to me one time at Walmart, and he was rattling a plastic cup with money in it, clear plastic cup. I'm like, oh, thank God, I could use a few bucks. Can I get a couple of those? Whoo, he was gone.
Gone. But it is something we all need to worry about. East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner Bo Clark joins us next. A brief break, and we're back on the Exiles TV show.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita along with Kevin Gallagher. We follow the infection rate with COVID, we follow the testing rate, and we are following the death rate during this crisis. The chief medical officer for East Baton Rouge Parish is, in fact, the coroner, Dr. William Bo Clark. He is a medical doctor, and he is now in your third term as being coroner?
Third term, yes.
And you have started doing a podcast of your own to kind of keep people apprised of the deaths in East Baton Rouge Parish
Yes.
that are involved in some way with COVID. And there's been this kind of national conversation that has a lot of people kind of pulling at little pieces of twine. What is the difference from a medical point of view of someone who dies from the coronavirus or someone who dies with the coronavirus?
So I guess the easiest way to describe that is if you had coronavirus and you got stabbed and died as a result of the stab wound, that would be not a corona-related event.
Right.
However, when you present with the symptoms of shortness of breath, fever, cough, that progresses to being the need for ventilation on a ventilator at the hospital, and then you become COVID positive and then die as a result of that. That is a COVID death. The only caveat I've had to all that was this past Monday when we reported the COVID-related death of an infant born to a COVID positive mother.
That was in the news. Tell us a little bit about that if you can.
So essentially, and it becomes very confusing because you have to understand we're still waiting on the pending swab of the infant that died. But this was a live birth. It was a premature birth. The child was born at about 22 weeks gestation. And then you have to ask yourself, well, in normal general circumstances, can a 22 gestational birth survive? And the answer to that is yes.
They do all the time.
However, the chances of survival between 21 and 25 weeks premature is about 5%. Okay, so the chance of survival at that gestation is very, very low, but it is possible. And so that's on one side of the equation. The other side of the equation you have to consider is the intimate relationship between the mother and the baby. The baby is relying on the mother for everything. Okay, and in this case, most specifically, oxygen. And one of the things that is caused by the coronavirus when you get infected by it is hypoxia or a low oxygen state. And so if the mother has hypoxia or low oxygen, then of course the infant does. And that puts stress on the pregnancy. And in this case, the child at this point we're saying it's died as a result of extreme prematurity, but that was because of premature labor and delivery, which was because of the coronavirus that the mother had. And that's what makes it a coronavirus or COVID-related death.
So this poor baby does count as one of the 652.
Yes, according to what I believe is the coroner, according to what the state epidemiologists believe, as well as the CDC, think that there's enough corollary here, given the circumstances, that it should count.
If someone was, well, we mentioned congestive heart failure, COPD, or whatever. If they were bad off with that, but yet they tested positive for COVID-19, would that be considered related, or?
We would consider it if they were having symptoms, okay? And so we know in the general population, there are going to be people that carry the virus that have no symptoms. But those folks usually don't get tested because they don't have any symptoms, so they don't have any need or urgency to get tested. However, we're finding that most people that do have those comorbidities have shown symptoms because the comorbidities put them at such a disadvantage with this type of respiratory infection that typically they get it and they get it bad.
If I go to the hospital because I am just completely wiped out tired and I don't have any fever, or anything like that, but doctor decides to admit me because he sees an enlargement in my heart or fluid, and I'm not admitted for symptoms of COVID.
Right.
But I pass away and I perhaps have a positive test for COVID. How do you do that to make sure we're balancing the books properly?
Right. It's important. We really have to look at the presentation, right? We have to look and see, did the virus relate to the symptoms? Because what everybody needs to remember, even though we have this pandemic going on, we're still having people get sick from the things that we normally get sick from, right?
Flu.
And not just illnesses. I mean, we have people still having heart attacks, right? We still have people getting in motor vehicle crashes, things of that nature. So it's what we call the +1 effect. And the +1 effect is we're dealing with everything we normally deal with in the medical arena, in the healthcare arena, even the coroner arena. but then we're adding a pandemic on top of that. And that's really what affects the surge in the system, is the +1 effect, because now not only are you dealing with your usual volume of health-related work, but you're also dealing with now folks that are being infected by the virus.
Bo, some of us don't understand why the alarm over COVID-19 when the latest projections for nationwide deaths only equal what we can average in a year from regular seasonal flu. What is it about this virus that is so much more worrisome than some of the others?
It's simply by, in my opinion, by the fact that it's new. And what I mean by new is that we don't know enough about it to really make those prediction models as accurate. Flu, we have a flu season every year. We study it every year. We look at its variants. We can predict it on a national level, a state level. We can predict it on an international level in the world. This is such a new virus that we're really kind of shooting in the dark. So when you listen to a press conference and a international health expert says, well, we think it lasts 3 days on the surface, right? That should raise the alarm in your mind to say, golly, you mean you don't know that? You know, you don't know that because we haven't studied enough to know it and offer that advice.
It's that new.
It is that new, yes.
Well, and that's why they call it a novel virus.
Correct.
But also, aren't we a lot more concerned with, even though we will lose 65,000 people from flu in this country a year, and we lose about that, by the way, in automobile accidents, you don't have 4,000 of them showing up at one medical center in a day.
Very good
and
point.
isn't that really the big problem here?
Right. So what you, in those terms, think of it as this. Our system can manage 100 sick people if we put it over 2 months. But we can't manage 100 sick people if you put it over 2 days, okay? And so that's really what flattening the curve is about, is to give people that get infected and get truly sick about this an opportunity to survive the illness by spreading them out over a period of time. And I think really, if you look at the quarantine, it worked. It really did. I mean, or it is working. I hate to put, for people to release and become complacent about it, because you really have to be, we still have to be cautious. But it's working in the sense that we're not going to need, it doesn't look like we're going to need as many ventilators as we once thought, or hospital beds. So you can't argue with that science, really.
There's also the question in my mind, this seems to be a very fast-moving disease, especially with people who've already got a compromised immune system for one reason or another. It seems time of exposure to time of death is pretty fast, and that would seem alarming from a medical professional standpoint.
And it absolutely is. It's for two reasons. Number one, because it is novel and new, right? All the treatment that you hear talked about in the news, we're kind of figuring that out as we go, right? I mean, they try a drug and say, hey, we think that works, right? Because it works in another scenario. And then we find out, no, that's not the right thing for coronavirus. It might be the right thing for flu, but not for coronavirus. And so as we go through this process, we're developing these regimens of what works and what doesn't work. I mean, what's really interesting is you're talking about using a malaria drug, okay? Malaria is not
hydrochloroquine?
Yes, is not a virus, okay?
Okay.
On a virus, right? You're talking about using antibiotics to treat a bacterial infection on a virus, right? So that these are kind of backwards medical thoughts.
Is that why that particular drug is receiving some skepticism out there? Is it?
Well, people don't understand it. They're like, well, why would that even be possible? But it is possible. And if you think about, and there's some theories about why they think it works, and I'm sure this is going to be studied for years to come. But it may be that is the drug of choice in the future of coronavirus.
We're going to break in 2 minutes, so we may not get a full answer here. But I saw a very, very well-written post by a physician who is a rheumatologist. And he said, look, I am treating dozens of patients with hydrochloroquine.
Right.
He said, and they get COVID infections at the same rate as everybody else in the general population. They have the same hospitalization rate, and they have the same death rate once they get to hospital care.
So
he said, if they've already
in his
got
opinion, it's not helping?
Well, he's saying if they've already got the drug in their system, what does this tell you?
Right.
And I thought he wasn't saying, oh, it'll never work, it can't work. What he's saying is that a lot of this stuff that is happening with treatments across the board is kind of a shotgun approach, and every now and then one pellet hits true.
Yes.
It's not a rifle approach, is it?
No. So, and conversely to that guy's story, you'll hear another guy on the internet says, "Well, I put everybody on it, and they all got better."
It saved my life.
And so Do we know yet? We don't know yet. Are we trying everything we can think of? Absolutely. That's what the healthcare community is doing right now. All my colleagues in medicine, we're throwing everything at it that we can think about when it comes to the pathophysiology of this virus and how to combat it.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what people can throw at it, and also there is, if it's not already exhibiting itself, there is a mental health aspect that is going to come along with this in communities all over the country, ours no exception, for the stay at home, the loss of income, the uncertainty, just the worry, and a lot of these are going to come across the desk of the coroner because you're also our chief mental health officer in this parish. We will be back right after a break. We are talking with Dr. Bo Clark. He is the parish coroner here at East Baton Rouge. We are talking about mortality and morbidity with COVID. If you've got a question, 225-831-1029. Back in just a moment.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
We're back. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Kevin, he's Bill, and our guest is Dr. William Bo Clark. He is the medical examiner for East Baton Rouge. He's the parish coroner, and he's also one of his many roles is also the chief mental health officer for East Baton Rouge Parish. And as Bill alluded to right before the break, there is going to be, I think there maybe already is developing, a mental health aspect to this shelter-at-home social distancing request that we've all been complying with here for the last several weeks.
Well, and we feel like we have lost control. Many people feel that way.
Many people are scared to death.
Well, see, there are some people that look at compliance as retaining control, and there are others that scream they've lost control. They've given over control. But you have people now that are getting financially stressed as well. Mm-hmm. And all of this will start to exhibit symptoms, and there are going to be a lot of people calling on Dr. Clark's office because they feel that someone has gotten to the point where they're dangerous to themselves or to others. So what's the forecast in terms of mental health?
I'm not sure, but I am concerned about those issues. Now, the good news I can say is that we have not seen an uptick in that sort of behavior during the time that we've had this stay-at-home order. But clearly, we're not out of that, and there's a concern of what happens afterwards. And so I've certainly been encouraging people to really, just because it's stay at home doesn't mean you have to stay inside. I mean, you can walk out in your front yard, your backyard. You can, as long as we do the social or physical distancing, you can, take a walk around your neighborhood. Those are all very important things for your own mental health. To not just sit there and consume, COVID-19 information 24/7.
And Oreos.
Yes, and too many trips to the refrigerator. So, but we're prepared, of course, if in fact after all this is done. Now, I will say from a mental health and a medical community, a lot of mental health providers went to telemedicine immediately when this began, and so they're still able to treat the mental health community through telemedicine, offer them counseling and suggestions over the internet-based applications, and even make sure they get the prescribed medicine. So hopefully it prevents people from falling off the tracks with their mental health treatment.
Anti-anxiety medicine in this country as of yesterday, there's been an increase of 21% in prescriptions being filed. And there are some people that think that that's good because if you are anxious and you need medication, then you need to be on it during this time of particular stress. And I've also heard that all the pharmacies that serve this area and the doctors that are doing telemedicine basically have a real fast line to get the prescription into the hands. And that's for everything, whether it's anti-anxiety or antibiotics, that we're actually doing a pretty good job in Baton Rouge in getting prescriptions out to the patient quickly.
Right. Yeah, very efficient, which is, kind of interesting when you think about how we have handled medicine in the past, where you would go to your doctor's office, drive there, park, walk in, all those things. We've now compressed the ability to deliver that care. So, you talked earlier about the new norm, and I agree with you. I don't think this is the new norm, but I think we're going to learn a lot of things from this. We're going to actually learn about how we can be more efficient as humans, right? I mean, I gave a lecture this week to some graduate students at LSU over Zoom. I'd never done that before, but it was really an opportunity for us to interact. They could talk to me, I could talk to them, and it was the same as if I was standing in front of them, which is normally how I give lectures and talks. So, maybe some of that will be implemented going forward in the future, and we compressed what normally would probably take 2 hours into about 45 minutes. So, they have extra time to do extra things with their lives.
Do you think going down the road, I mean, because another disease, another virus is going to present itself.
Certainly.
Something else is, down the road is going to move through the population. Will we be more willing to take these measures in the future, do you think, or less willing because of what we've been through?
So yes, that is $1 million question, and I really mean it's $1 million question because you're talking about the economy.
Yeah, $1 trillion.
Trillion, whatever the number is, because certainly there have been certain parts of the economy that have been incredibly affected by this because of the shutdown. Unfortunately, it's been necessary to prevent the spread, and so then wherein lies the balance? And the good news is I think we'll have time to consider the balance as we move forward and maybe think of other creative ways so as not to have to completely shut down as we did this time.
Well, I think we will learn from this, just like we're learning about the importance of these underlying conditions in the mortality.
Sure.
A week or so ago, there was a figure from Italy that had more than 96% of their fatalities at that point were due to underlying conditions. And so I think we're going to have some important information there. But what I think is interesting is I am hearing more people that will say, even if on April 30th, medical professionals say the major danger is over, don't do anything stupid, but we can start to get back to, visiting relatives and going to eat in restaurants and things like that. There's so many people saying, I don't think I'll be ready for it.
Right, yeah. And so that two sides of that, obviously. I think one of the most important things is that you can have a tiered response or a tiered come back to the norm, right? I mean, certainly in very, very areas of the state and country that have been tremendously affected, maybe they don't come back right online immediately. But you look at some of the statistics nationwide. I mean, North Dakota, they did pretty well. I mean, you look at Wyoming, they did pretty well.
But they're pretty sparsely populated.
Exactly, right. But it also means that they can get out of the quarantine much faster than other areas of the country. So I think you'll start to see things come back online. And I've even heard them talk about, if they open a restaurant, maybe they seat people in every other table, so there still is some physical distancing that happens.
Is there a worry that when the all clear is given and we all start going out to eat, that there'll be another surge of transmission?
Yes, absolutely is a worry. And so I think that's why the government is very hesitant of lifting it, right? I mean, because they don't want to be wrong. They get blamed if they're wrong. Of course, they get blamed if they're right.
And we really don't know. We don't have enough data yet from testing, because this unfolded very quickly, to know whether you're immune once you've had it.
Right, and that is really, you talk about the big test. How about how many people in the community right now have developed immunity from contact that can then be on the front line and not be hindered by the virus?
Well, and we need to determine, I guess, I don't know much about immunology, but don't we need to find those people? And aren't antibodies the key to making a vaccine?
And they're working on getting that test available. There's even been some studies that looked at people that were infected, got over their infection, and using the antibodies in their plasma and giving that to a person who's on a ventilator who's very, very sick, so that they can help combat the
One more quick
virus.
follow-up. What is it going to take to get the concern to ease? Is it going to take an effective treatment for COVID, or is it going to take a vaccine?
I think it's going to take probably both. You're going to have some people that, if they have a trusted source that says, hey, look, I think it's okay, we can get back to the way things were, then they'll go. I think other people probably say, I'm not leaving my house until there's a vaccine out there. I mean, you're going to have a mix of everybody, and so maybe that'll help too, that we do have a broad mix of people that kind of re-engage society in tiers.
It never occurred to me that there might be a cross-section of us that would continue to socially distance ourselves just
because.
Because they hate people.
Well, but if you even looking a lot of times you see photographs from Asia, and even when there's not an outbreak, you see people walking around with masks on, right?
I always assumed that was air quality.
Well, maybe so, but nonetheless.
But you're right, Kevin. This is going to leave a mark on some people. The psychology of it, this is going to leave a mark.
Can I tell you all a quick story yesterday? Yesterday, after we got home from the podcast, and I was sitting there eating my lunch, and there's a knock on my door. I didn't answer it. I wasn't expecting anybody. We're both home, both cars in the carport. I didn't answer the door because I thought, there's nobody at the door I want to talk to right now. And just let it go.
Yeah. Could have been Publishers Clearinghouse with that big check for you.
You don't think so?
We have got
Steve Harvey walking away. Well, damn.
Real quick, under a minute, you've got a podcast. Tell people how they can look at your podcast.
Yeah, so essentially, because of social distancing and the practices that we've now implemented, of course, as the Coroner, I felt it very important to get information out to people. So we started on Mondays after I release a daily media brief on the work we do related to COVID, Monday through Friday. However, on Monday, I do get on Facebook Live on the East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner's Facebook page and do a live segment where we kind of update what happened over the weekend and then kind of whatever is new and try to offer some explanation. It's a good format, but it's sometimes challenging because people like to ask questions, and so that we roll through those questions as best we can.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and as soon as we don't have to all social distance, Kevin and I have become gear gurus on podcasting.
Nice.
We're going to pay you a visit and see if we can't help you out a little bit, so you don't have to hold your iPhone like this while you're doing.
My arm's getting tired.
Yeah, while you're doing your podcast. East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner Bo Clark, thank you for coming out and sharing some time with us while there is still a live crisis going on. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit with you, if you'd like, 225-831-1029. 225-831-1029. And then as we roll into hour number 2, GOHSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, will be joining us to give us an update on what's going on statewide, facts, numbers, what's been deployed, what's in supply, what's out of supply. You'll get all the latest info here with Mike Steele, who will be with us. In the meantime, stay tuned for hour 2 of the Exiles.
Bellello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
The Exiles television show, and well, the Exiles are us. I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and so glad to have you along with us this morning on Cox Cable and open air all over South Louisiana. Check Pelican Broadcasting's website, and you can find out for your friends and neighbors, depending on what cable system they're on and what community they're in, what channel they can catch us on.
And right now, we'd love to talk to you. We got our phone lines open at 225-831-1029. That's 225-831-1029. You want to give us a call? We'd like to know what you're going through, or if you have any questions or comments. I know there's a lot of skepticism of how things are going with the coronavirus response. I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook where, the governor says this, the governor says that. There are those that inherently don't trust our governor. And so they
or any governor.
Or any, think of it, any governor.
Yeah.
But they automatically gainsay whatever he says. How are you feeling about what you're hearing? Are you feeling like you can trust what you're hearing from the president's briefings and from the governor's briefings? And when the mayor talks, are you satisfied with the way things are being handled by your officials? I don't know what more we could expect of them, because this thing is also, we use the word, novel.
Well, you just kind of tickled my brain a little bit. I understand that everybody, from the White House to the governors of all the various states, to the mayors of large municipalities, to the hospital administrators, I think they feel that there is a need to say something all the time. But they don't always have new information to give, and I think they end up being repetitive of necessity. And then maybe they change one word in the second stanza, and everybody, aha, see, and it reminds me a lot when the serial killer was operating in Baton Rouge, and a good friend of ours, Pat Anglade, was the police chief. And under pressure from the mayor, he did a press conference every day. And it was painful.
Because there wasn't always something new to report.
That's right. But you know what? You know what it led to? It led to the people who wanted to find fault with everything. They don't know what they're doing. They got nothing. See that? He just stood there for 15 minutes, told us they got nothing.
Nothing new.
But
and also, law enforcement can't always share everything that they know about the investigation.
Well, neither can these people in medicine and government share every single thing they know. You know, and the problem with that is, you know, I'm in the information business. I have been all my adult life. I'm pretty good at it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm decent. When I did a lot of public relations counseling, I would tell my clients to stick to the facts that you know. If you don't have anything new to report, say that. If you don't know the answer to a question, you say, I don't know, but I will have the answer by 3 o'clock and I will get back to you then, or 4 o'clock, or however long you thought it would get. And the trouble is there's this tremendous pressure now that is being brought to bear, quite frankly, from people who are looking at reasons to pick at the nit. People who are looking for reasons to be angry. I think your term is wonderful. You call them the perpetually aggrieved.
Yep.
And there's a whole bunch of people involved in that. There's people that are just generally upset because they don't like the situation, and they don't want to admit that nobody in government or police or medicine can change it. There are the people that just like to throw the Molotov cocktail to watch something burn. That's fun for them. There are the people who want to look under every rock, you know, for something, even though they've looked under these same rocks 25 times before. There are people that want to parse everybody's words.
They've got their own pet conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and the thing is, there is something seriously wrong that this snowball continues to go down the hill with greater velocity than the other ones. And the reason is a lot of people, government, medicine, law enforcement, first response, they feel that they have to always respond and be there every single day at the expense of looking like there is nothing happening. And it's a bad situation.
I'd like to add this to the daily briefing that our mayor has been doing. Bo has been doing regular briefings, and the governor's been doing regular briefings, right up to the president. The media shows up for these things, and I think sometimes that there's a feeling of, well, all this media showed up, man, I can't just come up here and say, as of today, compared to yesterday, I've got nothing new to report. Thank you for coming. I'll accept questions.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, there's a feeling that you can't do a 2-minute press conference. That you've got to stretch it out, and you've got to bring up this guy and that guy, and God forbid you don't have somebody doing this, even though we have closed captioning on every television in America. I'm going to catch hell for that.
You're just such a mean-spirited guy.
So, you know, there's more to talk about, but we got to take a break. We're going to be right back with more of the Exiles.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Misery
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher.
I
and
am.
We're very glad to have you along with us. We are in, it's our third week of this, right?
Yes.
And so
Week
please,
3, show 6.
If you like what you see, tell your friends, because we are all over South Louisiana. And we, of course, invite everybody to participate. We do keep a phone line open for you, which is 225-831-1029, so that you can participate, and we would love to hear from you. So whatever floats your boat, we are glad to have you along with us this morning.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I got to tell you, social media is a great place to go to find out where the crazies are.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, no offense to any of my friends on Facebook, but some of y'all are sharing some pretty crazy
In fact,
crap.
something just popped up. No, I don't want to do that.
There's, let's see, there are those who think that the coronavirus was all Trump's fault and Trump's idea because he needed a crisis to manage so well to assure his reelection in the fall. There are people who think that the coronavirus was all a big Democrat, liberal, progressive thing to bring down the national economy, blame it all on Trump, and therefore destroy his chances of reelection in the fall. Then, of course, there's the Chinese conspiracies, which I think if you're going to cling to a conspiracy, the fact that China wanted to do this just to make things difficult for the U.S. of A. period,
my favorite,
collapse our economy.
Yeah, my favorite was that this was all hatched up and actually they said put into physical delivery by millennials that wanted to change from our capitalist system to a more socialist system. Now, think about that. You think that the millennials, who are probably the most undereducated group I'm sorry, they are. You look at how many degrees in basket weaving have been given out over the last 25 years.
Or just look at the ratio of college degrees held to poor intelligence displayed.
And they're too lazy to get driver's licenses. Did they find the one millennial educated virologist who said, let's go to a wet meat market in Wuhan, China,
have some bat soup,
and find some bat soup that's undercooked, and then we'll make sure that we can spread it. And they don't know how to buy tickets on an international air carrier, you know. And mommy and daddy aren't buying them for them. I mean, come on.
There have been some state lawmakers that were of the left, the leftist leaning, you know, the progressives, Democrats. There have been some state lawmakers, and I think one or two members of Congress that have expressed that let the economy collapse because then we can rebuild it in a much more progressive fashion. I don't know how you build how do you build a free market capitalist economy in a progressive fashion?
You don't.
You know, I don't understand that. But that's what gives rise to these weird conspiracy theories.
Here is
something new.
This is interesting. One of the leaders in personal injury law in this state for years and years and years, who has been doing commercials talking about social distancing, and they will do virtual visits and all that.
Yes.
Morris Bart has been diagnosed with the COVID-19 virus.
Not Morris.
Morris Bart.
Morris is probably 70-something. I worry.
Actually, he's only 67.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I still worry that he might be in a high-risk group.
Well,
although, you know, he looks pretty lean and healthy when you see him on TV.
Boy,
not handsome, but healthy.
That nose of his can take in a lot of droplets on the inhale, though. I mean, he's got a honker on him. I mean, I don't want to say his nose is big, but when he inhales, everybody else has to exhale.
Morris Bart.
Morris Bart.
Interesting. So that's one personal consultation you're not going to have if you call his
one
his
cough.
law firm.
That's all. Now, fortunately, at this point, he is experiencing only mild symptoms.
Good.
And he is isolating himself until he's completely recovered.
I had somebody on Facebook suggest to me that they watched our podcast yesterday, which we still do on Wednesdays and Fridays on Facebook Live, on the Morning Exiles page on Facebook Live. And they suggested to me that you and I were maybe having a little too much fun given the gravity of the situation.
What did they say?
Well, you know, we were having some laughs and giggles, and they just said, I don't know if you should be laughing and giggling about things. Well, you know, this virus is ravaging through the population and people are dying. And I gave that some thought, and I thought, were we having too? Nah.
Well,
sorry.
Laughter is the best medicine, particularly when it comes to irony. You know, and we were not laughing at the situation. We were laughing at the way some people are dealing with the situation. And I think that's fair game. I really do.
Marty, do we have a call? I've got Facebook Messenger open if you want to prompt me on that.
Well, we don't know.
And if you have something you'd like to say, call us at 831-1029. That's in the 225 area code, 831-1025.
Yeah, I find it interesting.
You want me to just take it cold?
Well, let's see. Marty, can you hear us? Marty's looking the other way.
It's all right. Marty's got a job to do. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it cold.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone. All right.
But, you know...
They were probably like, yeah, could I get a pizza with no anchovies delivered?
Sure. But, you know, you're talking about somebody saying, I think you two guys are having too much fun considering the gravity of the situation. It's just like the person who scolded you for reporting that you had a very, very bad delivery experience with waiter, and that you should have not said that because maybe they were having a bad day.
I shouldn't have complained about bad service because the driver might have been having a bad day.
So if you think that when we toss a little levity into our dialogue because there is something that strikes us as a little funny, even in the midst of all of this chaos and anxiety that is COVID, I'm really sorry you feel that way. I really am. But I think you also ought to do a little check under your own hood if that bothers you to the point where you're going to talk to somebody about it.
Mm-hmm.
More to come after the break. Stick around.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hey, we're back. Exiles TV. I'm Kevin Gallagher. My counterpart is Mr. Bill Profita, and joining us now live on set for the second time in 3 weeks, and we do appreciate your time. Yep. Mike Steele is Director of Communications for the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Got that right.
GOHSEP.
That's right. GOHSEP.
I have to ask this. Your counterpart's in Italy. Mm-hmm. Do they call it Giuseppe?
Giuseppe.
Not sure about that. I'll get back to you.
Get back to me on that one.
Will do.
How have things been for you and yours? This has been a trying time.
Yeah, there's so many, components to this because, I guess I've been working for a month and a half straight. You have so many people at home dealing with kids and spouses and everything else that comes along with kind of being caught in this condition. There's concerns about cabin fever. There's concerns about people just, their well-being in so many different facets, whether it's their financial situation, their health situation. There's so many different components. Our heart goes out to everybody, but we're kind of all on the same boat together on this one.
Let's start with some of the bottom end of the funnel numbers, because I know everything comes into y'all, and you've got multi-agencies represented. Have we got everything and everyone deployed that we feel we're going to need to in the short term? In other words, the National Guard units that are helping food banks and things like that. What have we got out there in terms of state assets?
So I think if there's a silver lining to the events that we have in Louisiana, it's the fact that we have probably more experience than anybody in the country in a lot of facets. Mm-hmm. So even with the difficulties of trying to figure out where we're going to get PPE and the difficulties of trying to get ventilators and a lot of these other critical items, our staff is used to working through those challenges. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really helped us in this situation. So the Guard knows exactly what they need to be doing. Our employees, there's a lot of people at the office who have a lot more experience than I do that know how to work through a lot of these kind of problems. And then one of the things that I think really helps, and it's helped for the past probably decade, is our relationship with FEMA Region 6 out of Denton, Texas. They have Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, a couple of states in this region. And that relationship's grown to the point that it's almost like muscle memory, where everybody knows what they need to be doing. So once FEMA was kind of brought into the equation and kind of tasked with coordinating everything on the federal level, I think that really helped us out as a state. And I think that's why you don't see a lot of the major problems like you're seeing in some of these other states right now.
Now, we're hearing, and it's good news, that we're starting to see a flattening of the transmission curve, which is what we're all hoping for. We're all hoping that by the end of the month, the governor doesn't have to extend his stay-at-home order. I don't look at it as an order. I look at it as a request that most of us are complying with quite well. During this time, though, what is GOHSEP responsible for? I mean, you mentioned PPE. What about ventilators and other? Is that a resource that you all are tapped into digging up as well? Or?
Yeah, it's kind of all hands on deck at this point. But there is kind of a different setup with this event that's kind of unusual compared to what we deal with in the past. Normally it's weather events with us. In all honesty, flooding is our biggest issue.
Right.
Hurricanes, obviously, a lot of severe weather events, those types of things. And so we have this chain that we go through, and it starts at the local level. It even kind of starts with families, as a matter of fact. When you have your supplies and you can get through a weather event for a couple of days that may last a couple of days, everyone's better off. Then that obviously works up to the city and the parish level, and then if that support's needed, it goes up to the state level if it's a major event, and then obviously we take it all the way up to FEMA if it calls for that. So we've got this natural chain that we've worked with, trained with over the years, and you know what to expect, what supplies they have on hand, everything else. With this event, we have a situation where there's a lot of medical supplies needed, so you have a chain that's kind of working through the Louisiana Department of Health to help our medical facilities, but then we still have our parish OEP, our Office of Emergency Preparedness Directors, that are still sending the supply requests in through the regular channels that they're used to. So you kind of have both of these parts moving at the same time, depending on what the needs may be and where those needs are going to be distributed, at the end of the day.
Gotcha.
Is there any change in the posture of the governor at this point in terms of dealing with non-compliance? I think we've had pretty good compliance across the state. We've had a couple of incidents that have made the news. But generally speaking, I guess when you see information coming in and you see the response, what do you feel in terms of where the governor feels about this right now?
So, obviously very early on, he saw the danger that this situation posed for the state. So he's always very proactive in dealing with an emergency, and that's one of the things in working with our agency that helps us, because we don't have to worry about much lag time and kind of raising the alarm and getting people to take action. Enforcement of this thing is incredibly difficult. A lot of it's going to come down to whatever the locals feel like needs to be enforced. We don't put a lot of pressure on the locals on exactly how every component of emergency management is handled. We give them a lot of flexibility because we feel like the locals are going to know what their needs are. You had a situation,
and they know the people they're dealing with as well.
Right. And they had a situation a couple of weeks ago where some of the waterways in the area, were jam-packed with people. They were crowded together. And some of the local law enforcement saw the need to kind of take action on that, and we support that 100%. But we lean on them to help us with the information that they see or the needs that they see on that level. Even with evacuations, they're handled differently in Louisiana than a lot of other states. The locals often call for those evacuations first, and then we help them support that mission. In other states, you may see the governor or a more top-down approach on how some of these things are handled. That's just not the structure here in Louisiana.
We were talking earlier about the briefing and the pressure on governors and mayors and even the president, to have something every day. And you really don't have much other than numbers every day as a practical matter.
Right.
And that's got to become, we got to get to a stress point on that pretty soon, don't you think?
And there is. He keeps hitting home with a lot of that messaging. There's a big concern around our office and with all the agencies and the governor, about this being a holiday weekend. Every river parish, every parish around Acadiana, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, everywhere in South Louisiana, crawfish boils, family get-togethers for Easter. That's all a part of our lives. Our family does the same thing, and it's hard to tell people, like, we know this is something you look forward to every year, but don't do it this year. And that's a difficult message, and it flows against everything that we're, in our genes in Louisiana. We want to get together. We want to have a good time. We want to, have those crawfish balls and different things. And so, there's two things with this. You're telling people not to enjoy themselves and get around others, and you're telling people, don't work hard to help pull us out of this. Stay at home from work. And that's totally different from what we normally tell people when you're in the recovery phase. And so, there's a lot to be learned from this, and we just hope that the public understands, it's going to take a little while before we get to that magical point where we don't have these concerns anymore.
Mike, it's of course everyone's greatest hope that this is in the rearview mirror by the time hurricane season gets underway. But God forbid they should overlap, that we're still in this lockdown type situation, and then we have an early season storm coming our way. Is GOHSEP, and have they anticipated that eventuality?
Yeah, there's actually a meeting today at GOHSEP concerning some of those things. So those are, that's issues you definitely have to be ready for. So we have a number of options available. We're looking at different options should the let's say the Morial Center becomes close to capacity. There's other hotels being looked at in the New Orleans area. There's different things being looked at. So we almost have a group that's kind of focused on the day-to-day stuff that we have to plow through, but then there's other groups kind of looking ahead to see, like, all right, if we are facing this, and if we do run out of capacity at Morial, what do we do? So we kind of have a couple of different things moving at different parts. You can't curl up in the corner and cry.
Right.
If we're faced with a hurricane or
does
a
that
flood.
qualify as a worst case scenario?
Absolutely. Who wants to go? Yeah, who wants to go through that? But you have to find a way to plow through it. This emergency has had people at times where it's just like you just want to throw your hands up and get away from it, but you can't. You have to find a way to look for solutions. And I think, leadership in the state, hands down, I feel like has done a lot just working through these things, addressing all the potential things that could happen and kind of keeping us a step ahead.
I think I know the answer to this, but I want to ask the question anyway. So far, in terms of managing the emergency, we've had warnings where we're getting close.
Yeah.
We need this, we're getting close, and we haven't actually crossed that red line yet. Have we gotten an opportunity over the last 4 or 5 days to where we've now still got some things on the shelf we could reach for if we need them, or are we still on just in time?
No. I think it has gotten better, but what the governor has been careful to say is that all of that is dictated by everybody still complying. And if they start to not comply, you could see those resources and the hotel beds and everything else start to get to that critical phase again. What's different with this is if you have a storm approaching, South Louisiana and maybe New Orleans and the North Shore or in the bullseye, we've got projection numbers on this many people may need sheltering and this many people may need transportation. We look at that all the time for any type of emergency. With this one, there's an ebb and flow to it because it's all based on people's, how they comply, if they're complying, those types of things. And so there's never a set mark where you think like, all right, on this date, at this time, we're kind of in the all clear. I don't know how long it's going to take. I heard someone the other day say it could take 2 years worth of compliance before this thing fully went away. But we all know, but we all know that's not in the cards. It's a matter of getting it to where you can manage, the hospital beds and manage some of the factors that are into this. And there was a lot of concern early on that we were going to tap that out.
We are talking to Mike Steele. He is the Director of Communications for GOHSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. If you have a question, a concern, 225-831-1029. A brief break, and then we're back on Exiles TV.
Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bellelo's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican, 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita, along with Kevin Gallagher, and joining us in the studio is Mike Steele. He is the Communications Director for GOHSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. And Mike, before the break and then off mic here during the break, we were talking about the supply chains. Governor Cuomo in New York has been doing a daily briefing just like John Bell Edwards has been doing. And I think that in the next day or two, the national media focus is going to be on Louisiana as opposed to New York, because they are demonstrating a flattening of the curve.
Right.
And we're going to get a zillion questions, some of them relevant, some of them just to ask a question. But Governor Cuomo said something about the supply chain 4 days ago. He said that they would not mind getting into a bidding war with other states over precious commodities like PPE and ventilators, and they were in a situation to where they could pay top dollar and jump the line. I know we still have needs in Louisiana, although it's more manageable. Are we projected to have to get into that kind of a struggle for the equipment we need?
I think there was a lot of concern early on, and there were some problems early on. Again, a lot of the supply chain is kind of being modified to go back into the more traditional role with FEMA involved and those type things. But we mentioned during the break, we have our traditional lines of supplies that we work through with FEMA on a regular basis. But you also have some input now from Washington and sometimes directly from the president, where other information's talked about or other potential supply chains are mentioned. And so it's it's a situation where our staff has to try and piece together, like, okay, does this group know that this group's working on this, or that they're saying they can supply this? Because we have to answer all the way down to the local level. So we need those answers, and we need some clear-cut answers on what's available, what's coming, those type things. So it has been a challenge, and definitely there were some issues, especially early on, where the bidding and states bidding against each other, a lot of that was in play. I think we're starting to kind of work through some of that now, because a lot of times it's just a matter in an emergency of getting that bridge established. Once you get that bridge to kind of connect things and kind of get over the hump, I guess, then you start seeing a lot of those problems kind of wind down. And I think we're kind of starting to move that way if the conditions keep improving the way they are.
Yeah, this is good to hear because I've read in some other states where there have actually been bidding wars for the respirators. And God forbid you don't want to get into that and have somebody that needs one doesn't get one.
Well, and you're starting to see some states now actually donate to other states now. That's why I think there's certain things you can look at now and say, all right, the situation must be improving, generally for everyone when you kind of see those things starting to happen.
What's it like, though, when you've got all those? This is not a local emergency. This is not a statewide. This is a federal national emergency. And that's a lot of working parts with GOHSEP having to work with the feds, with other state agencies, and then with all those parish agencies as well.
Yeah, and then
is that like herding cats, or is it all going pretty smoothly?
At times it is, but again, I think we stood up very quickly. We were one of the first states to kind of, to me, see the urgency in this situation. And there were a handful of states that could say that. Some kind of are basically just getting in the battle now, and and that's another factor that made it incredibly difficult. I think the last time we were on, we talked about you have all the states basically looking for those same items and trying to get their hands on those certain supplies that we all need. But then it's not just a national problem. I think there's like 150-something nations around the country that are kind of in that same fight. So it's definitely a worldwide event. And there's another factor that most of the supplies that we need a lot of them are made in the exact country that the whole problem started with, to begin
China.
with.
Well, I noticed China. One state was using Chinese tests, and they were saying they did not fit the level of accuracy that they were used to, and that's a state way up north. Let's talk about what is actually happening now. Is the Morial Center now functioning as a hospital? Are there patients there?
Yeah, there's a few dozen, I believe, as of the report I heard this morning. There's a few dozen patients there. Just kind of an update status on that. So that was built out to handle 1,000 patients. The original goal is to have the hospital beds freed up. So as patients start to improve, they would be transitioned over to the Morial
kind of a
Center.
step-down unit.
Right, it's exactly what it is. Then you would open up those hospital beds for people that need more urgent, or serious care. If that starts to fill up, there's plans to build out another 1,000 beds at that facility, which that construction has already happened, but a lot of the services associated with those 1,000 beds haven't been turned on yet because you want to ramp up to that need. So if we see it start to fill up, that additional 1,000 beds would be turned on. And then there's also plans, looking at a couple of hotel sites around the New Orleans area that they could be transitioned to be additional beds and possibly more of a step down.
Let's talk about the same situation in Baton Rouge. Do we still have hospital bed capacity, or are we going to have to go to an overflow?
Well, I don't believe we are at capacity now from the numbers I said. The report I saw this morning dealt more with the New Orleans area, but I know there's been sites such as Lamar Dixon looked at for possibly being set up kind of like what we've done at the Morial. And again, a lot of those groups working at our office right now are kind of looking at those long range potential problems at this point, I guess, to see if some of those things may need to be pulled. You want to make sure that you ramp up to what you're facing. So our initial ramp up was based off the projections because we didn't know what the level of compliance was going to be. We didn't know a lot of different things going on, and so you're only as good as the numbers you have and the information you have in front of you. So all of those things were done. Now we're kind of at a point where it's like we're looking beyond that, but some of those steps may not be needed, and it may be more efficient not to take some of those steps. So we'll see where things go.
I'll ask you a question related to a question I asked Coroner Bo Clark earlier. If the all clear is given, and I know how we are in Louisiana, it's all or nothing. So when the governor, if April 30th comes and the governor doesn't extend, we're going to explode into the streets and businesses and things like that. Does GOHSEP have a plan, or they discussed a secondary infection wave strategy?
I don't know I don't know what that looks like at the end of this. Like out of the conversations I've heard, and there may be some people at Louisiana Department of Health or somebody that knows more about this than I do. I heard Dr. Fauci say the other day he doesn't see just a light switch being flipped at the end of this thing, that it may be more phased. And I think, I believe it was Senator Cassidy. I've seen so many different interviews and everything on this, but I believe he talked about there may be a situation where you could have people that were already exposed kind of start to move back into the workforce.
Right.
Maybe see that wave first because you think maybe they have a resistance that, built up now. So I think there may be a number of things looked at. I wish I knew the answer to that.
Well, but that's an honest answer.
Family's sake.
What I worry about is, potentially this. Joe Blow gets tested, and he tests. I should use you as an example. You've been tested.
That's right.
Bill gets tested. He tests negative. But sometime between now and the end of this shelter-at-home social distancing order, Bill becomes, exposed again, or not again. Bill becomes exposed. So he's already tested. So he's in the negative list. But he could be walking around with the virus and not know it.
All right, so that was one of the dangers about the testing early on, that if you were just testing people for the sake of testing people, you would maybe give them a false sense of security saying, like, I don't have it, I'm in the all clear, but then you come down with it 3 days later or whatever. So, I don't know all the answers to that. I know that's a lot of the things that we're going to have to be looking at.
And they have said when they phase it in, we're all going to still have to take certain precautions. Let me tell you what, I am a lot more cognizant of my precautions now after having gotten a negative result. And it's a work in progress. We've got under a minute and a half here. Anything that you want to close with?
So we have a lot coming down. Different people cope with different emergencies different ways. And so a lot of people struggle when we're going through this. It may be a good time to turn off the news for a few minutes, just kind of decompress at some time. We are all there. We all have to do it at some point. But like Monday, we have a GOHSEP podcast. It's the GOHSEP Get a Game Plan podcast. We talk to a behavioral health person about how to cope with some of these things, how to look for warning flags with your relatives. A lot of times it's as easy as going out and taking a walk around the neighborhood, maybe by yourself or with your spouse, just to kind of get some fresh air, get some sunshine.
Some perspective.
Decompress on what's going on. There's so much to worry about right now that we all need time to kind of break away every once in a while.
Mike Steele, again, for you and everybody in government that's working so hard at this, you have our appreciation, and we appreciate you taking a little time to come and give us the latest information here. Clarence Buggs will be in this time slot starting on Monday, right? And then we will be back on Tuesday. Make sure you listen to the Morning Exiles podcast on Facebook Live tomorrow morning. If we have new information, we will impart it then.
Quick break. We're going to come back, wrap things up on the Exiles TV show. Thanks for being with us.
All right.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
Hello again. Once again, our thanks to Mike Steele and the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, GOHSEP, for making Mike's time available to us. That's twice now in 3 weeks that they've made Mike available to us. And we also appreciate our coroner, Bo Clark, for being on our program today, too. Good information from both. A lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah, and again, you know, we are going into, we have started Passover for those in the Jewish faith. And you know, and that is remembrance of passing through the troubled times in fleeing Egypt. And for Christians, we are slap in the middle of Easter season.
Tomorrow is Good Friday.
Good Friday, and then Easter Sunday. And a lot of us are spending it extremely differently for the first time in our lives. And I've got to believe that adds to some frustration, may cause some sadness for people. And I have to think that those who are away from their families because they are treating people who are ill, or testing people who are ill, or setting up the ventilators and making sure they work properly. And you know what? We shouldn't complain that we're not going to have, you know, Aunt Katie's creamed potatoes on Easter Sunday like we always have in the past.
No egg hunt.
Yeah, no egg hunt.
There's not going to be any egg hunt this year. You can bet on that.
We can still have an egg hunt.
Well, you know, we used to, we only have 2 children, and now they're almost adults, so we don't do the egg hunt anymore. But we used to have an egg hunt in our backyard for just those 2 kids. Niece and nephew, love them to death. Hunter, Rhiannon, hi. But no, there'll be none of that this year.
Well, and there are a lot of people, and you know, well, you know, this might be Maudie's last Easter, and we can't even go and visit her.
Yeah, I miss my mom. I haven't been to see my mom since, well, January.
Yeah, but you know, she's in a good spot health-wise, and you know, while you've been completely healthy and asymptomatic, do you want to risk bringing something to a woman who's in her 80s and she's good where she is?
Not at all. I had to kind of, the last time I talked to her was about a week ago, and I had to kind of firmly tell her that, you know, not mean, but, you know, I said, Mom, I could be infected and not have any idea.
Yeah.
You're 85. I'm not going to be responsible for your death. So let's just wait till, you know, somebody blows the all clear whistle, and then we'll get together soon. I miss my mom terribly. You know, I used to get up to see her much more often than this, but we talk on the phone. As long as we have these, we're connected.
Well, and again, for those of you who really, really want and enjoy and feel deeply moved by the church services that accompany this season, remember that the liturgy is the same. It has not changed since Easter of 2019. And church is wherever you want it to be. Church is wherever you want it to be. You don't have to go to a building.
Nope. This is what Jesus said. So, By the way, I don't know if I want to bring this up in the final 3 minutes of the program, but another story on Tony Spell, our friend up in Central, who said, if some of my parishioners die from COVID-19, then it will be their sacrifice for God.
Oh, my God.
And it's that, if that doesn't tell everybody, including his parishioners, this man doesn't really care about you. What he cares about is your attendance and your donations.
Well, and the power that you all give him, which, again, I'm a live and let live kind of guy when it comes to things like this, but you all really need to examine for yourselves how much authority over your lives you are willing to give this guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that most recent episode I was, wow. So basically he's saying if they die, they die.
He's collateral damage in his march for Christ. Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. Look, I don't want to get into demonizing the man, but I just think something bad is going on up there in Central, and I hope that some of the people that attend his church are starting to wise up. There's a whole analogy of the shepherd and the flock, and sometimes the flock gets shorn, and that's what they're there for, is to get shorn.
Well, there's another passage that I'm thinking of that may be apropos to this guy. Pride cometh before the fall.
That much is certain. But we hope that everyone that attends the church is well and has not been infected with the COVID-19 virus. And I just hope we start to see some real, they're talking about it in hopeful terms here on state basis, that we could be seeing a flattening of the curve, and May 1st could be a realistic date for maybe returning to some semblance of normality.
And they started to realize it very, very quickly in New York State, which, again, we're going to take their place as the Mac Daddy of all cases probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it happened very, very quickly there. Hopefully it will follow the same mathematical model here and happen very quickly for us as well.
But this is a whole other topic for a whole other show. Models, can you trust them? You know, everybody's basing everything on models, and I think sometimes models are garbage in, garbage out.
See, I always thought they were just in it for the money.
Well, it depends on the legs. No, not that kind of model. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us for this week. We hope that your Holy Weekend is meaningful for you, and we hope that you manage to, in your own way, have some kind of fun and enjoyment over the holiday weekend.
And please join us for the podcast tomorrow morning, The Morning Exiles, on Facebook Live around 8 o'clock. We will beam directly to your brainstem.
That's right. Directly.
Like a boring virus.
Until that time, you take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.